Last summer, I was at a creator retreat, and one morning I went on a walk with Chris Williamson. You definitely know him. He's changing the podcast game now. He had an insane rise over the last like 3-4 years, I would say. He's been doing content and his podcast for longer than that, much longer. But he said this quote to me that I have not forgotten, and it stuck with me so fucking hard. And it was a Mark Manson quote. And it goes, "Identity lags reality by 1 to 2 years. There's a lot of psychological fallout from a rapid change in status." Basically, the idea is that when your life changes, you have some type of extreme success, whether it's selling a business or losing a ton of weight, or you get signed to play a pro sport. Externally, you are this whole different person, and the world sees you totally different and expects you to be totally different. But inside, your brain is the complete same. Your brain doesn't change that quickly. Chris expands on it in this tweet. He says it well. It will take time for your inner world to catch up to the outer one. Your fears and doubts and inclinations have not changed that much, yet everyone expects this new person to show up. He says how like in a tribe of 80 people, you can't really change your status. You're living in the forest. You're basically the same person. But in the modern world, there's unlimited ways to change your status and, climb the social ladder. And that our minds are biologically not wired to change like that. And it's super interesting to think about. And this, I would call it this gap, this dilemma, this lagging behind of your self-image versus your outer success is kind of what's been my biggest challenge, I think, over the last 1 to 2 years. When I went on that walk with Chris, which was like 8 months ago, last summer, it was right after, my life completely changed over like 4 to 5 months. I was making content for 4 years, basically, which is a pretty long time. And then within 4 or 5 months, I went from growing like this to being flat to all the way growing up, this exponential growth, this kind of overnight success from the viewpoint of other people, where I gained millions of followers in a few months and had this new audience and all these new opportunities. And it was sick. Like, that's amazing. That's what you want to happen. But the challenge is I was not ready. Like, I was not the person who was ready to take advantage of all the opportunities that come with that and step up to all the things I had to step up to. I just wasn't. Yeah, I was, in terms of the fact that my work was worthy of that result. But the person, Zach, outside of the work was not. And it's taking time, and it's still taking time for me to catch up to that. I think I made a lot of progress. Like, for example, I went to that event with Chris. It was hosted by these awesome guys, Max Hurton and Rian Doris. And I was pretty anxious the whole time because, well, two things. One, it was like a YouTuber event. Everyone there was a YouTuber, and I was not a YouTuber at all. I still am not, even though I'm trying to be now. But so that was one thing. And then number two was I just had imposter syndrome. Like, I didn't belong there, even though I definitely did. I definitely had something to offer. I've done, something unique with content, and I've been in the game a long time. But regardless, I was super anxious that weekend and didn't feel like I belonged there. And I think Chris, whatever we talked about, that became obvious. And he's a super nice guy. But now I think if I went to that event, it's been like 8 months, it would be different in that I think over the last 8 months, I've gone on a journey where that gap between this external Zach who makes all this content and has the success, and the personal Zach who wasn't ready a year ago is very much closing, in that I am becoming much more this person that the world sees me as, which I wasn't before. So I would go to podcasts, and it was like I was playing a character, like I had to turn on and have this new energy that I didn't have throughout the rest of the day. There was this Zach who had this photo booth company and, didn't always do the right things, ate like shit sometimes, wasn't always productive. And then there was this Zach who made content and inspired a lot of people. And there was a massive gap. And when I had this huge success, I was expected to be this Zach all the time. And I just wasn't. It was fake. Versus now, like I said, I've been making a lot of progress over the last year. And I very much now am always on, and I'm always this person where I go to a podcast now and I just sit down and there's no mental preparation. There's no hyping up. I did my first live speaking event a few days ago, which was awesome. It was small. It was like 40 people, 30 people, and I knew a lot of them. But I genuinely thought I would be very nervous to sit down and speak. What was really surprising to me was that I had no nerves. I just sat down and ripped. And yeah, I was not an amazing public speaker. I said a lot. I looked into space. Like, I'm going to learn how to speak well in public because I want to give big talks about obsession. But it was cool to just not be nervous. It was cool to not be anxious or worried about what I was going to say. No, I ripped and I was myself and I said the truth. And that to me was a big stepping stone of progress where I do feel more and more that I am this person. And it's crazy because you can be told over and over that you are this person, that you've done this amazing thing, that you're capable of this ridiculous greatness by people who you admire and some people who you idolize. The amount of people who've messaged me and told me they believed in me is insane. It's insane. If I listed out all the people, it would be like, holy shit, this kid is inevitable. This guy is going to do amazing things. But that does not matter. That does not change how you see yourself. It is like the carvings of stone that are made by water over thousands of years. It's like the neurons in your brain have fired so many times that these thought patterns are so inevitably you that it will take months, years of these mental iterations to change them and to change the way you see yourself. And so that does not happen overnight. It does not matter who tells you that they believe in you. You have to actually believe it yourself. And that takes a long time. It takes a lot of work, inner work, and you just can't fake it. But you have to do that work to be ready for these new opportunities to get to the next level. And then you probably have to play a similar game. But like I said, these people who I really admire are the same, whether they are on a podcast, whether they are speaking to tens of thousands of people, and whether they're at a dinner with a few friends. They are the same exact person and they are always on and there's nothing fake. And that is genuinely the person I aspire to be. So yeah, this is just a really important concept that identity lags behind reality. It's honestly a good thing. You want to feel a little bit of imposter syndrome because that means you're achieving more. And just recognizing that imposter syndrome, I think, can help it dissipate a little bit. But this will be my biggest challenge because, like I said, my path, my journey has come. My journey, my fucking chip on my shoulder is there because of self-image, because I had bad self-image as a kid. So I went on this quest for extreme greatness to make all of this incredible, to make content and make all this stuff. And so the challenge now is that now that I'm starting to do that stuff and actually make progress, millions of people are reading my writing. I have to actually, the thing that started it, which is bad self-image, I have to work on and get over because that's the only way I'll get to the next level. It is the only way because that is the only way I can make the content and the art and the products that I need to if I believe in myself and know that I can. And so it's interesting how the thing that made you who you are is now the thing that's preventing you from reaching the next level. That's kind of how I feel. A lot of it came from college where I was playing sports. I was talking to my friend in here about this the other day, but I just sat on the sidelines for 3 seasons of D1 soccer. Didn't really play at all, was always hurt or always just sucked. And I just watched other people win. And every single game added more gasoline to this fire of intensity and ambition that I had and just put this massive chip on my shoulder where like I said, I felt like kind of like a loser. Like I wasn't doing anything. I hated watching other people play. And that just made me so fucking hungry to go and get after it in life. And once I stopped playing soccer, the world was mine. And I went on a journey that started then and haven't stopped and will never stop. And recognize that the people that you and I look up to, they probably feel similar to I do, where they might look like this extreme success to the world, but inside you have no idea what the fuck is going on. And often it's really less about who is more talented and who is more skilled. And it's really just about who is less insecure, who can go and get after it, who can do it even despite of their insecurity. That I think is what's really impressive. And yeah, that's it. Stay obsessed, get after it.